Unmute. I think you're muted. Am I unmuted? Okay.
Yeah, I was being a mime.
Talent.
Just everywhere.
Okay.
And I sent it to Peter, and I'm checking, and I just texted him. He had eye surgery yesterday, so I'm not
Right.
sure if he can see it.
And we also did not hear whether Keith was in town or out of town.
By the looks of him, he looks like he's in town.
Okay, because he was hoping not to be on a plane.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not on a plane. I was hoping to be on a plane, actually. I'm sitting upstairs, probably like 200 feet from you.
I know, literally.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, they've got a minute. I'm gonna really try to go pretty fast through this, Keith, because it's, pretty boilerplate, and we don't need to dilly-dally about all of this tonight.
I'm gonna stay online here to hold this one open.
Right.
You guys exit, and then Frank or the mayor or whoever may come back and report if there's any reportable action. So I'll sit here and hang out like this.
Frank can report out any reportable action.
We're just this way. We don't have to have someone from the city stay signed on because of it. So,
Right.
yeah.
Do we have the rest of our players?
Well, I see Frank is here. Doug is on. Marianne's there. Keith is there. I suspect City of Plymouth is probably Michael. So I don't see Peter.
Okay, so do I need to do anything to open the meeting besides just start like a normal agenda, Frank?
No, just start it like we're all there in person.
Hi.
Hi.
Okay, the regular meeting for February 24th, 2022 is called to order. We need a roll call and all votes, any or all votes tonight, because this is a full Zoom meeting, will be roll call. So can we have a roll call?
And I will do that for you.
Okay, you know who's here.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Councilman Sim,
Here.
Councilmember Ackerman, Vice Mayor Ackerman,
Here.
Councilmember White.
Here.
Councilmember Amoruso. Mayor Kleinfeld.
Here.
Okay.
Okay, we can have the Pledge of Allegiance. I did try to run out to my garage and find my little flag, but I was unsuccessful. So Keith, could you lead the Pledge of Allegiance for us tonight?
Okay. I pledge allegiance
To the
to the
flag.
United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
Which it stands.
one nation, under God, indivisible,
Indivisible.
with liberty and justice for all.
Justice for all.
Oh, that was.
That was an echo fest there.
Well, I was gonna say it was more like a choir in the round.
There you go.
There we go. Yay.
There is no invocation this evening. I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda for tonight's meeting.
I make a motion to approve the agenda for tonight's meeting.
I'll second that.
Been moved and seconded to approve the agenda for the regular meeting for February 24th, 2022. All, I stand corrected. Can we have a roll call
Roll.
vote?
Perfect.
Councilmember Sim,
Aye.
and Vice Mayor Ackerland,
Aye.
Councilmember White,
Aye.
Councilmember Amoruso, Mayor Kleinfeld.
Aye.
4-0.
So our public comment this evening is also all via Zoom. Under Government Code Section 54954.3, citizens wishing to address the council for any matter not on the agenda may do so at this time. Speakers are encouraged to keep comments to 3 minutes or less and to state their name and community of residence, but this is not a requirement. Under provisions of Government Code, the City Council is prohibited from materially discussing or taking action on any item not on the agenda unless it can be demonstrated to be of an emergency nature or an urgent need to take immediate action arose after the posting of the agenda. Is there anyone on Zoom that would like to speak during public comment? You can let us know by raising your hands by pressing *9.
See no hands, Your Honor.
Okay, is there anyone on the council that would wish to have any comments during public comment? Hearing none, I'm going to close public comment. On 4, 5, and 6, we have no items this evening. Our regular agenda item is item 7.1, discussion and direction regarding possible interim city manager options. Okay, I got to switch to another page here. Yep. Okay. Thought I was being so smart with this. Okay. Possible interim city manager options include Michael Colton to ensure continuity of services on March 11th, 2022, and or other possible near-term direction.
Yes. Good evening, Mayor, Council. I assume that everyone had read the staff report. The purpose of this item is to deal with the fact that we have our city manager after 42 years of service is retiring effective March 10th, as you all know. And under the Brown Act, we can only do so many things as it relates to city manager, interim city manager discussions or appointments at regular meetings. So we wanted to take the opportunity to have this meeting before March 10th so this council could give some near-term direction. As indicated in the agenda and the staff report, Michael Colton is your current assistant city manager, and he is one candidate, but we can discuss potential appointments obviously in more detail in closed session. But I wanted this council to have the opportunity to have a discussion on near-term options that would be go into effect as of March 11th. That's the purpose of the item, not long-term, just near-term. So I wanted to open up the floor and let you all have that discussion.
I wanted to ask you a question, Frank, why the agenda didn't say acting / interim, because acting, the definition of acting would mean someone that was already currently on your staff, and interim usually defines someone that you're bringing in.
Well, actually, acting, yeah, typically acting is going to be somebody that you're just having them act or step up for a very limited time, while while you don't have a person in that role. So, for example, if Rex has been on leave, I'm sure he's appointed Mike as acting city manager while he hasn't been there. Interim contemplates a situation when there's a transition, when there is nobody in that seat, and you need somebody to step up into that seat. So it doesn't necessarily mean someone within the organization versus without the organization. It just means someone stepping in for a day. So for example, when I worked in-house at the City of Vallejo City Attorney's Office, I was like third on the chain. And when everyone above me was out of the office, I was acting city attorney for the day, and I would, probably took the city into ruins those days. But the point was, I was just acting for a day or so. That's the difference between interim. Interim is actually a position that would be the position that would be appointed by the council.
Okay, I just thought it was a good question to start off.
It is. And honestly, the agenda is flexibly described enough where it gives all sorts of options to the council for near-term possibilities.
Would the council prefer to discuss this or open it up for any public discussion before we discuss it and provide direction?
I only have one quick question with all that, and then I don't care if we go to public comment or not. But and this is something that Michael's down with. He's cool with. Are we just assuming?
No, we don't have to. We don't want to get any specific stuff as far as labor negotiations, but he is open to the idea, and
Okay.
that's what council is. Yeah.
Okay.
I wouldn't have put it on the agenda if it was a non-starter from his perspective. He is open to it.
I know. I just got to double check. So,
Thanks.
I have a question. Are we going to hear from Michael tonight in this open session? Hello?
I don't know if he's around today. Is he?
Oh, so he's not going to be taking part in this discussion?
I don't think he's around today, I know he had some initial conflict, which was he was one of the several few that had scheduling conflict. So I'm not sure he's around, but the only thing he would be able to say really, if the items related to his potential appointment, would be stuff that in his own personal capacity, he can't really speak for the city as it regards to the interim position in itself due to conflict issues. So he would only be able to speak from his limited personal perspective, if that helps. And I have spoken with him about some of his personal views and stuff. And so those things can be discussed in closed session as well.
My question would have been, how long would he be willing to take this position on? Does he have a time limit, or how long would he be willing to do this job? And did you have that discussion?
It would be yeah, I have. And I can just say it's for a temporary period of time, probably a minimum of 2 months, and then indefinite period thereafter. And I can go into a little bit more details in closed session, but it'd be certainly a temporary position.
Anyone else from the council have any comments or questions? Okay, I'd like to open it up.
Excuse me, Mayor, I have a question. I think I know the answer. Has anybody else within the city expressed an interest?
Not that I know of.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll come back to the council to define our direction, but I want to open it up to public comment on this agenda item, not public comment, on this agenda item 7.1 before we, because it's nice to listen to the public's comments before we dial down on full direction. So is there anyone on the Zoom that would like to discuss this agenda item? Please raise your hand by pressing *9. Rex, is that a no?
Your Honor, I don't see anybody. There's only 2 that are unaccounted for, and neither of them have raised a hand or made an indication.
Okay. And Frank, I've given it long enough.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, council. Is there anyone that would like any further clarification or has any comments regarding this agenda item? Is there anyone that has a framework for directions to staff that they'd like to propose? Okay, guys.
I might have a might have a misunderstanding because I didn't know how much framework we were going to get into in on the closed session.
No, but this is only to suggest to staff that they work, that we discuss a contract, and Frank, jump in here, that we discuss a contract for an interim, which would include potentially Michael Colton.
Yeah. I mean, essentially, right now, staff's saying the only candidly, the only person I spoke to about this was Michael. I didn't do like any outreach or recruitment. I spoke to Michael as sort of the next logical step, especially due to the time crunch. That's what we have as a possible candidate, but I also wanted to make sure this council had an opportunity to redirect. And that's what this is really for. So unless there's a consensus to go in another direction, I think we're going to continue to work on working with Michael to see if there's a possibility for an interim relationship but I wanted to make sure council had the opportunity to audible. So that's what this was for.
Okay, so my understanding from the agenda item and what you're saying, Frank, is that we're going to move forward in that way unless 3 council members say, no, we'd like to open it up and get suggestions for another interim. And I'm not hearing that from the council. If there's anyone that would like to go in a different direction, could you please speak up now? Okay, then I think that's the direction for staff.
Yep.
Is to prepare,
Perfect.
have the discussions.
Yeah, and we're going to go into more details in closed session.
Okay, so item 8 on the agenda is council communications. 8.1, there is no city manager's report. 8.2, I'd like to know if there's any member of the council that has something to report or an agenda item for a future agenda that cannot wait till the next regular meeting when we have more public input. Okay.
I'd just like to say one thing. I'd like to thank Councilmember Ackerland, Vice Mayor Ackerland, for being pretty supportive on the last issue that I brought up at the last meeting. And I guess this is more of a report, and then I'll have kind of an agenda item in the next meeting. I participated in the task force, the homeless task force meeting today, and then I went to the Board of Supervisors meeting yesterday, and I'm just trying to get my head wrapped around what's going on in our community here. So I just wanted to kind of give an update on that.
Well, thank you very much, Keith, and that's great representation. Thank you. So anyone else have anything to report? Then we will close the public portion of this agenda and move into the closed session. Council members have been provided the information how to close out of this meeting and join a separate meeting. I will probably get it wrong.
And if I may, just to make sure, we want to make sure there's opportunity for public comment even on closed session. Before we do that, I just want to briefly refer to my items. We have 2 items in consideration for closed session. One item of public employee appointment, interim city manager. The other one, conference of labor negotiators for the unrepresented employee, interim city manager. And that information is further described in the agenda. And now, Mayor, opportunity for public comment.
Okay. Is there anyone on the Zoom call that would like to speak on agenda item 9.1 or 9.2? Could you please press *9 at this time? Okay, hearing none, we will close the public portion of this meeting and reconvene in closed session. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, and if I could just be a little sorry, I hate to do this, but we're going to keep the open portion open. We are going to convene into closed session
And come back.
And then a designated person will come out and report out after. So the open session will stay open to the public if they want to wait for a report out.
And I'll stay here until you guys report.
Okay.
Thank you.
Keep it running.
Thank you, everyone.
Are you saving this for something? Can I open it?
Yes, you can open it.
Oh, let's take a special tool.
Yeah, beating it on the bottom.
Seeds in them.
Hey, Doug, you need to hit the leave button. There you go. Good job. And for the 2 folks that are still on, just hang out. I'm going to put it on mute and be back with you when they come back.
Good evening. Council just convened and discussed two items in closed session. One item, interim city manager appointment, and another item of labor negotiations for unrepresented employee interim city manager. The council received information and provided direction and there's no reportable action. I also note that Councilmember Amoruso joined us in closed session, and we adjourned closed session at 7:17 p.m. Thank you.